party.
Good morning and welcome to Sky News Today with Wilfred Frost, coming to you today from Luxembourg on the sidelines of the Economic and Financial Affairs Forum taking place here, where Sky News has spoken exclusively to the US Treasury Secretary. She gave her support to Israel unequivocally and said America could absolutely afford to support two wars at one time. We'll get to that interview in just a moment, but first a reminder of the headlines of the current situation in Middle East as things stand this morning. Israel's military has said 199 hostages are now being held in Gaza. Reports initially suggested between 100 and 120 people had been captured by the group. Israel has denied reports of a ceasefire agreement in southern Gaza. It's also accused Iran of instructing Hezbollah to carry out Sunday's attacks at the Lebanon-Israel border. A Hamas official says there's no truth to reports the Rafah border between Egypt and Gaza is to open today. It would see aid supplies get into the territory. And US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will return to Jerusalem later today for a second round of talks in 5 days with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, here in Luxembourg, the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has given America's unequivocal support to Israel. I began by asking her just moments ago what went through her mind when news of the atrocities committed by Hamas in Israel originally reached her 8 days ago.
I was horrified by the atrocities that were committed against Israel. The brutality is utterly horrific, and our hearts go out to the Israeli people who have been so badly affected by this.
When we look at everything that's been said in the last few days by you and your colleagues in the US government, is it fair to say that America's support for Israel is unconditional, or are there some conditions based on what might unfold in the days ahead?
I think America stands behind Israel, period. We stand with Israel. America has also made clear to Israel, we're working very closely with the Israelis, that they have a right to defend themselves, but it's important to try to spare innocent civilian lives to the maximum extent possible.
And is that why Secretary Blinken is returning to Israel today?
I know that Secretary Blinken is working with and talking to all of the countries in the region, including Israel.
In terms of your brief and how this relates to the less important topic of the economy, oil prices up a lot already. We're back to above $90 on Brent. Has the likelihood of a global recession risen because of the events of the last 9 days?
Well, at this point, there has been some increase in oil prices, but it's relatively modest, and oil prices are still well off their highs. We're looking at the potential economic implications of the hostilities here, although our main thoughts are with the Israeli people for what they've suffered. I think it's too early to speculate on whether or not there will be significant consequences. I think, importantly, it depends on whether the hostilities extend beyond Israel and Gaza, and that's certainly an outcome we would like to avoid.
And are you and the Treasury Department preparing for that eventuality and what it might do to the global economy if the conflict does broaden out in that way?
Look, I think it's very early days, and we're monitoring the situation at this point.
In terms of what this all means, Paul Tudor-Jones, the famed investor, was on CNBC this week, and he said, "This is the most threatening and challenging geopolitical environment that I've ever seen. At the same time, the US is in its weakest fiscal position since World War II, with debt to GDP at 122%. Can America, can the West afford another war at this time?
I think the answer is absolutely. America can certainly afford to stand with Israel and to support Israel's military needs. And we also can and must support Ukraine in its struggle against Russia. And look, the American economy is doing extremely well. Inflation has been high and it's been a concern to households. It's come down considerably. At the same time, we have about the strongest labor market we've seen in 50 years with 3.8% unemployment. And at the same time, America, the Biden administration, has passed legislation that is strengthening our economy in the years to come for the medium term. We have three historic pieces of legislation: the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act. And we've seen a burgeoning of investment, especially in manufacturing, an industrial renaissance in the United States. And we're creating good jobs, especially for people don't have a college education, have been left out of really economic progress in the United States. So the United States economy is in a good place. In terms of the fiscal situation, I don't know where 122 comes from. The U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio is about 98% at this point. And the interest expense, which is a more relevant statistic, still remains manageable. Now, it is true with higher interest rates, and those higher interest rates may persist, although that's not clear. We have to be careful about our fiscal path, but President Biden is committed to a sustainable fiscal path. You know, we've raised $60 billion to strengthen the Internal Revenue Service. There are enormous uncollected taxes that are due. The so-called tax gap is estimated at $7 trillion over the next decade. And finally, we're modernizing and strengthening our Internal Revenue Service so it can better serve Americans and also collect the taxes that are due. So our fiscal situation is by no means unsolvable. We have to be attentive to it. President Biden proposed a budget with $3 trillion of deficit reduction. At the same time, it has investments in the United States. Now, globally, it's certainly true that there are challenges, as your quote points out, but I mean, what's evident is the United States is serving as a global leader in addressing very serious challenges facing the global economy. And the countries that I've talked with are very pleased that we're doing that.
I want to touch on some of those aspects and Bidenomics in particular in a moment, but just to round things off on both of the wars, and firstly on Israel and then on Ukraine. But as it relates to Israel, over the weekend, according to CBS, the US pressured Qatar not to release $6 billion to Iran that had been agreed to go back to Iran previously. What factors are you considering in terms of, from your department, to try and pressure Iran, and on what grounds was that $6 billion withheld from them?
Well, the money had been in Korea, and it was only usable for humanitarian purposes, and the money was simply transferred to Qatar from Korea, again with payments only allowed from those funds directly to providers of humanitarian services. Not a penny of that $6 billion has been spent. And I'm not going to comment on diplomatic conversations around that. I will simply say that none of that money has been touched.
Is there more that the Treasury could do to pressure Iran from not getting involved in this war?
I know that there are diplomatic conversations that are taking place. But I'm not going to go into details about them.
If we touch on Ukraine, clearly this is a war that Europe and the US are united on, but there's a big difference between the two. For one, it's on their doorstep. For you, it's 5,000 miles away. When you hear some members of Congress criticize the level of heavy lifting that the US is having to do in order to support Ukraine, do you think they have a point there?
Well, first of all, let me say it is very much in America's national security interest to help Ukraine fight this war. We're standing up for democracy and for territorial integrity, and a failure to do so would embolden Russia to take steps that would involve us in great expense, threats to democracy, and real national security risks. So this is not charity for Ukraine. This is in our interest. It's in Europe's interest. And this is something that we can afford to do. Europe is contributing heavily to this. Other countries like Japan and Canada, Australia are contributing to this effort, and it's a very important one, and we are committed to it. I believe there's a strong bipartisan coalition in Congress in favor of support to Ukraine, and President Biden and the administration will work with Congress to get this done. It is a top priority.
Well, that was the US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen giving America's almost unconditional support to Israel. And just moments ago, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived back in Israel for further talks with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. No doubt similar topics of discussion will be coming up there as America continues to offer its support from all different departments of state. We'll have more from that exclusive interview with Janet Yellen, including discussing relations with China. That's on Ian King Live at 11:30 this morning. But for now, I'll hand it back to Sam in London.
Thank you very much, Wilf. Let's bring you more now on the news from the Israeli military that they now believe at least 199 people are being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza. Our Middle East correspondent Alistair Bunkle is in Jerusalem for us. Alistair, that is a higher number than previously estimated.
Much higher. It was thought to be closer to 130, which is already a massive figure, but 199 hostages just goes to show the task that faces the Israelis to try and get some or all of them released. And that will be a factor in what comes next. That will be a factor in the potential for a ground incursion. Would a ground incursion into Gaza put those hostages at greater risk, or is a ground incursion necessary in order to try and rescue them? The other potential, of course, is the diplomatic track, which links into Antony Blinken's re-arrival here in Israel. He was only here a few days ago before carrying out a tour of much of the Middle East to speak to other capitals in Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Egypt about their positions on this conflict, to try and lower the tensions around the region, but also see, I think, particularly with the Qataris, whether or not some negotiation could be done in order to see the release of some of the hostages. And I think if that were to happen, we would be talking about women and children and the elderly. So Antony Blinken, US Secretary of State, is now here. He goes to the Kiryat, which is the Israeli Ministry of Defense in Tel Aviv. That is where the war cabinet sits at times of conflict, and that is where he'll meet them and the Israeli Prime Minister over the coming hours.
Alistair, thank you very much indeed. Just a little bit of breaking news to bring you. As you would expect, some of the senior religious figures in the country have commented on the situation in Israel and the Middle East. The Archbishop of Canterbury has previously, last week only, called on Israel not to press ahead with the evacuation order. Well, he has put out a new message on X, formerly known as Twitter, in which he writes, "The cancer of anti-Semitism must not be allowed to spread in the UK. I stand in full solidarity with the Jewish community in the face of the disgraceful hatred and prejudice that we're seeing on our streets, online and on campuses. We cannot tolerate such hatred. It is our moral responsibility to reject it and unite in resistance to it." Now, the Israeli military says that it plans to evacuate residents away from the Lebanese border in the north of the country. It comes as Israel accuses Iran of ordering Hezbollah militants to fire across the border. Our international correspondent Alex Rossi joins me now. He's live for us in Beirut. Alex, everybody knows that the locus of this war would change significantly if Hezbollah were to enter into it into a significant way. And we understand that they are on full alert on the border.
Yeah, it would add a very worrying dimension to what is already a very profound crisis for the Middle East. Now, what we're seeing on the Lebanese border is almost a kind of escalation of the violence, the daily skirmishes and cross-border fire. There has been a slight uptick. Fortunately, it is just contained to that area. The big fear, of course, is that it spreads further and we see a kind of regional conflict. At the moment, it is just contained in those areas, but it is becoming more serious, and as it becomes more serious, more rockets, more missiles fired, the chance of it getting out of hand, there being a misunderstanding of the kind of tacit rules of engagement that have been established since 2006, that becomes much higher. Now, in terms of what the Israelis are doing, they have been moving armour up towards the border. The 300,000 reservists that have been called up since Hamas's massacre last weekend, well, many of them are now being moved up to the Galilee and beyond to reinforce things on this border. Now, yesterday there was cross-border fire. Hezbollah fired anti-tank missiles into Israeli communities. Several people were injured, including the death of an Israeli civilian, which of course ups the ante in all of this. It inflames the situation. Now, we're hearing that the Israelis have now put in place evacuation orders for 28 communities along that border where the fighting has been worse. Those people are being asked to leave the area and move to hotels or guest houses until things hopefully calm down. But clearly a very worrying situation here in South Lebanon.
We are, of course, at Sky News keeping an eye on what is happening, not just in the south of Israel, but also on the borders in the north as well. Alex, thank you. Meanwhile, thousands of foreign nationals are gathering at the Rafah border in the hope of being allowed to cross into Egypt. Our Africa correspondent Yusra El-Bagir reports.
In the hustle and bustle that we were hearing was happening at Al Arish, just 60 kilometers from the border crossing, with truck drivers preparing to leave at any moment with hundreds of metric tons of humanitarian aid, has now stopped, and hopes have been dashed for the moment that the border crossing will open, as the deal is reported to have been to have faltered. Now, that could happen for a couple of reasons. One, Israel has said there will be no ceasefire in southern Gaza, and of course a ceasefire is necessary for this aid to come in safely, but also for people, foreign nationals, to evacuate. And again, no ceasefire does mean that border crossing is incredibly vulnerable, and we've seen it get hit 3 times in a 24-hour window earlier last week, and now there's no hope, at least that there will be, at least for the moment, that there will be a moment of calm, of peace for this aid to get through. There's also been reports from the human rights group in the Sinai region where the border crossing opens onto, that the deal has faltered because of Israel's insistence that these humanitarian aid trucks get searched. Now, that is highly likely, and people we've spoken to have said that the trust issues between Israel and Egypt are very much a point of contention at the moment, but also that this border crossing is highly controversial for smuggling in the past. And as we know, Israel did push Egypt to crack down on tunnels under this crossing where weapons have been smuggled in and out of Gaza in the past.
Well, the US president says that he is also considering a visit to Israel, although no plans have been finalized. He told US TV that Hamas needs to be eliminated entirely, but it would be a big mistake if Israel were to occupy Gaza.
It would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza again. But to going in and taking out the extremists, Hezbollah is up north, but Hamas down south is a necessary requirement.
Do you believe that Hamas must be eliminated entirely?
Yes, I do. But there needs to be a Palestinian Authority. There needs to be a path to a Palestinian state.
You're watching Sky News Today. Do stay with us. Coming up, queues both sides of the border as foreign nationals wait to be allowed to cross into Egypt, while aid organizations gather with humanitarian aid for Gaza. Can the US prevent Israel's war with Hamas from escalating into other countries? Secretary of State Antony Blinken returns to Tel Aviv to continue talks. And could it be a new era for Poland after exit polls prompt the opposition leader to declare victory?
The economy, you're living with your mum. It's hard to be a rebel, but you get your washing done. And you can skirt around the issue, you can rock around the clock. And no one will ever miss you if you put it on TikTok. So I finally come to realize. It was shot in Jamaica on the Rio Grande.
Well, fantastic little clip that we got there. And so am I right in saying that most of your career was behind the camera? This is your first album?
Kind of. I mean, it was primarily behind the camera, but I was with a band called Big Audio Dynamite with a gentleman called Mick Jones from The Clash during the 80s. So it's not my first venture in front of the mic. It's my first solo venture in front of the mic.
And now you've released it and it's sounding so great, do you kind of regret you didn't do this sort of thing earlier, or you just completes a great career for you?
Not at all. I never really wanted to be a pop star or switch lanes. I mean, this record is a product of the COVID lockdown, and which was interesting, right? Because what was interesting about COVID lockdown, it gave you a lot of time to think, didn't it? Mm-hmm. What was bad about it was it gave you a lot of time to think. So with 67 years of living and this conundrum, it kind of fueled the lyrical content for this album, and I felt that the time was right to get it off my chest.
And we obviously got a glimpse there, but what is the central message, if there is one?
A central message: speak the truth. Mm-hmm. I mean, in times of crisis, that's all we've got, and it's the most powerful weapon we have at our disposal. So all I've done is try to speak the truth as I see it. And at 67 years of age, I felt confident to be able to do that. This new batch of artists in the 21st century, yeah, the people that speak to me are few and far between, because it's a new language that I don't really understand. Hence the title of the record, Out of Sync.
Welcome back. Let's bring you more now on the Israel-Hamas conflict. We can get the military perspective with former senior British military official and security officer Philip Ingram. Philip, thanks for joining us here in the studio. We don't know how long this border crossing might open. Indeed, it might not. What is your experience with crossings like this?
Well, I've been to a few places where you get these sorts of crossings. You get thousands of refugees packing up against them. And the biggest thing is on the side of the border crossing where people are collecting, there's no infrastructure. There's no toilets, there's no fresh access to fresh water, there's no shelter or accommodations, no aid. So very, very quickly, this becomes a massive humanitarian problem itself. And the aid agencies in country have already said that they don't have the resources to look after all of these people. And we've heard there are thousands that have passports from different countries around the world that could be entitled to cross the border if Egypt allows the border to open.
Which we don't know, do we? That's the big question. And those people have undertaken perilous journeys to get there. Looking more widely at the situation in Gaza, can the Israelis target civilian infrastructure?
This is the $64 million question or whatever in looking at it. If they're targeting it because it's purely got civilians in it and they're trying to terrorize the civilians, no. But as soon as Hamas puts a military capability into civilian infrastructure, so into an apartment block or into a school or beside a school or something else, it becomes a legitimate military target.
And that could be a tunnel underneath? Or?
It's more complex with tunnels underneath. It would have to be something put in the building. What we're seeing the attacks at the moment in dropping the buildings will not have an impact really on a lot of the tunnels that are there. But Israel's responsibility is to take all measures it can to reduce civilian casualties. So it's doing that at the moment by putting this call out for people to move out. We've seen pictures of leaflets being dropped from aircraft to say we're going to attack this area. We've seen individuals inside Gaza getting text messages from the Israelis saying, move out of this area, we're going to attack this area in the coming hours. That's all Israel can do to move people out. At the same time, we're getting unconfirmed reports of Hamas turning around to people and saying, no, all you're hearing from Israel, all these leaflets, they're bluffs, stay where you are.
Safer here.
Because it suits Hamas to have pictures going out across international news channels of women and children being carried out of rubble. Hamas do not represent the Palestinian people. They have been terrorizing them as they've supposedly ruled Gaza as much as they're terrorizing other parts of the world. So Hamas wants to see horrific pictures coming out. And we've got this real dilemma. I understand 500,000 people have moved, which is fantastic. Israel can legitimately target a building that has got a civilian building that has got a Hamas military structure within it. Hamas legally should not put any military capability into places where there are civilians.
And talk of the Israeli ground offensive. What is the latest on that?
Well, ground offensive, it's all preparation. We're just over a week from the horrific terrorist attack by Hamas, and Israel have called up 300,000 reservists. They're preparing those for two areas. One, to protect the northern border with Lebanon, to stop Hezbollah coming in, and then to prepare for this ground offensive into Gaza. And it's not going to be anything very easy indeed. Hamas have been preparing for Israeli armoured incursions, well, even before Israel pulled out of Gaza originally, way back to the Jenin conflicts in 2002. They learned the use of improvised explosive devices, sniping, anti-tank traps and all the rest of it to slow any armoured formation coming in to build up areas and causing huge numbers of casualties. Israel knows this, so we'll be trying to work out what its objectives are going to be and how it's going to achieve those quickly whilst minimising Israeli casualties and trying to minimise civilian casualties as they go through.
Philip, thank you very much indeed. I think we're seeing you again next hour. Now let's take a quick look at the weather.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by
to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
All around the world. The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. All around the world. In your car. At work. At home. On your smartphone. Are you ready to turn it up?
This is Starr Radio UK.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it is Starr Radio UK and the morning show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Are you ready to turn it up?
Welcome. The best radio show.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great.
The best radio show.
In your hands, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end. Till the end. You are God. One who took my place.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Well, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you once again to a Monday edition of the morning show. This is Starr Radio UK on the 16th day of October 2023 with the time now 10:43 from the hearts of London.
Love for you runs deep.
And I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
You makes my heart beat.
Well, a cool day here in London. Wherever you might be able to tell me about that when you get to the weather front. But wherever you are this morning listening to us, I want to say welcome to the show.
You hold the world in your hands.
So from now till 1 o'clock, when the curtains are brought down for the end of the program, I'm going to be your captain. I'm going to be taking you through all the stories making the rounds from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. As I do say, if it's making the headlines, why not? We're going to touch on it.
And that's what makes you.
I will kick off the program with a quote for the day, the weather forecast, and then the travel update will follow suit. We'll move from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe in the zone of global trotting. And then from there, we continue to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria with updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Then we continue from there, going on to other parts of the world to look at all the stories from Gaza to Ghana. So whatever is happening, we'll make sure that we bring it your way. At 12:30, at 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. At 12:30, the first part of the program will be brought to a close, and then we'll take you straight to the our own HRH Linda Pali and all the way in Cyprus to bring you Career 101. So in Nigeria, that's what's going to happen. But let me say good morning to my colleagues, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, and my makeup artist as well. Well done to you all. If you see me and I'm looking sharp, they did it. Let me say good morning to Felix all the way in Aberdeen. Mr. Frank Davis in town as well. Kojo D here in the south as well. Salute each and every one of you. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama, Mr. Kediosin, and Dr. Martin. I salute you. Hey, David Kluche, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very, very well. Good morning to you, my Bishop himself, Bishop Adeshina. Good morning, and let me say good morning to Pastor Momo and all of you guys at the RBS office in Lagos, Nigeria, with Bishop Adeshina. I salute each and every one of you. And let me say good morning all the way to Germany, where Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho also is Chief. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing very well and the family there as well. Professor as well. Good morning to you. Justin all the way in Moscow. It was lovely having a catch up with you last Friday. It was lovely to see you. Massive good morning to you as well. So let me put it this way, all protocol observed. Welcome to the show, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's crack on. So the quote for the day says, your guarantee in a job lies in your attitude, skills, integrity, respect, teaming, and knowledge. So which of them do you think you are lacking, and which of them do you think you can work on?
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart.
To the weather weather front this morning. Well, London or the UK itself have been having some cold snap coming in. But somebody say, well, it's something expected. Autumnal weather kick in now. But for those of us in London and the southeast of England, this is how we got the weather is going to be for you today. This morning we'll start with plenty of sunshine, but the areas of cloud will soon move in from the west. Variable cloud and spells of hazy sunshine in the afternoon, remaining dry throughout the day though. And this evening will be rather cloudy with few clear breaks. Skies will become increasingly clear overnight with just the odd patch of light cloud left lingering in places by dawn. The total temperature 13 degrees, otherwise going to be 8 degrees. UV level, low pollution, low sunset, 1806 and sunrise for tomorrow morning, 0725 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast. So let me now take you straight to the travel this morning. What is your travels like wherever you might be watching or listening to us from? Now, in London area, well, the major roads in London, I can tell you this morning, I don't know what is happening, but no exceptional delays. You can zoom through it like no man's business. I don't know, maybe people are not going out to do to their jobs or anything, or they are avoiding the ULEZ bit. Okay, but when it comes to the underground this morning, the Jubilee line has got minor delays. That aside, all the others are running a very good service. Minor delays between Westminster and Stratford due to an earlier faulty train at Westminster. Good service on the rest of the line though. DLR and London Overground are also running a very good service. The river bus straight on Woolwich Road is still having reduced service. That aside, all the others running a very good service there. And that brings us to the London cable car. Yes, planned closures between IFS Cloud, Greenwich Peninsula, and then Royal Docks. So check before you leave though. And that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update, and that is the National Rail. So on the National Rail this morning, cross country has got minor delays. London North Eastern Railways, Lumo, Merseyrail, and Transport for Wales have all got minor delays. Also, Western Spain and Express, Northern Rail and ScotRail have got special service. That aside, all the others are running a very good service there. So wherever you are, that is a bit of a gist of what is happening when it comes to your travels. You can share with us what is happening in your own locality. So on that note, let me say it once again as I normally do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes square on the road.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now exactly to 10:51 from the hearts of London. So wherever you are, thanks for joining in. Let us move on straight. Yes, there are some social announcements that I will have to bring later on, but wherever you are, don't tag the dial at all. Let's move on straight to what is happening from across the globe, known as Global Trotting. All right then. So on the in Nigeria, where we'll be having Mr. Koiki joining in later on to bring us all the updates from there. Let me start it from there, of course. But let me say good morning to Dash Mayor on the Dashmedia TV. All of you there, I salute each and every one of you, and thank you very much for joining in as well on the YouTube channel and all the other platforms that every one of you are watching us or enjoying the program from. We salute each and every one of you. Now, my change of name from Siddiq to Atiku Abubakar well documented. Atiku opens up. I bet you they say that his name has been changed as well. So he's also he also maybe forged his name. Is that what they're trying to say? I'll be telling you more about that. So don't you go away. Don't you go away at all. And then Akpabio calls for urgent fix of Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road, and PDP renews call for removal of Imo Professor Agu says she's openly compromised. NDLEA detained 2 wanted drug barons, cocaine traffickers as well, and NAF airstrikes kill terrorists in Bono, that Nigeria Air Force. And then Lagos shuts hospitals for transfusing unscreened blood. Boy, oh boy. Nnamdi Kanu victim, not villain. IPOB lawyer tells Ohanze ahead of meeting with Tinubu. So let's see what is going to happen on that front there with Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho having been sort of giving the free hand to move around and having his release, let me put it that way, and therefore being able to travel out of Benin. Will Nnamdi Kanu, also see a bit of freedom being served him via the meeting with the president? What do you think about all that? Maybe that is a good listen for the president. If he is able to do that, people will now gravitate towards him, right? Let's see, 3 die, others injured as downfall rams into moving truck in Lagos. And LASMA issues order to stop motorists, commercial buses, operation on bridges. There are some of the stories making the rounds from Nigeria this morning. Ateke Asare, boy love, others meet in rivers over oil theft. Now, this oil theft thing that we talk about, I've been saying that, the little ones that people, there are big gangs who are behind it, but they'll be going after the little fishes. But maybe the little fishes can lead them to the big gangs around it. But what do you think about all that? Lots more going to be coming your way from there. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. My apologies. Now moving on to other parts of the world as well. Stories making around. Designer Avido puts Kenyan slam on the fashion map. Let's see. Kudos to him there as well. And then rugby. Burkina Faso names Bolivar after Thomas Sankara on anniversary of his assassination. Well done there. Rugby World Cup. South Africa fans celebrate quarter-final win. And then Blinken meets El-Sisi in Cairo as Biden administration scrambles to contain Israel-Hamas war. Some of the stories making the round. And Senegal drowns in plastic due to, Senegal drowns in plastic due to pervasive water sachet usage. And Liberia Election Commission finalizing results of Tuesday's polls. Those are some of the stories making the rounds. And as and when we have information pertaining from what is happening there, we'll bring it to the fore. Kenyan President William Ruto arrives in China for BELT. What is BELT? I'll be telling you more about that. And IMF and World Bank meeting concluded in Morocco. Some of the stories making around. Senegal drowns in plastic. Madagascar opposition candidates protest as well. While they're protesting, lots more going to be coming away from there. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, I've been talking about the rule of law in Africa and those places. But Senator Ajimai Rawlings, the daughter, and she's a member of parliament and daughter of the former president and the late Jerry John Rawlings, has said that the state of Ghana's democracy, she's questioning the state of Ghana's democracy and governance. The member of parliament for Klote-Kole constituency in the Greater Accra region, Dr. Senator Ajimai Rawlings, has taken to social media to express a deep concerns about the state of democracy and governance in Ghana. In a thought-provoking post on LinkedIn, she raised questions about the fairness, transparency and integrity of the political process, and whether these principles would guide the upcoming 2024 general election. Dr. Ajman Rollins expressed a struggle with the prevailing political climate and the expectation of waiting till 2024 to potentially see a change of government. She pondered whether the democratic process will be upheld during the elections, or if it should be marred. It will be marred by attempts to undermine democracy and the rule of law. So what is she trying to touch on there? I'll be telling you more about all that in the course of the program. And still in Ghana as well, African Medical Center of Excellence holds inaugural board meeting, and then some other stories making the rounds there as well. Eastern Ashanti NDC youth wings prepare to join clean up exercise at Mohammed's office, and media unfair to MPP government. And Free Akoto seem to be saying we are in big trouble. Stop the corruption now. Nyaho Tamaklo is also saying to the president. And Kenya traders reject MPP ahead of election 2024 over poor performance. And then MPP UK declares support for Baumia. All right then, so those are some of the stories making the rounds there. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other parts of the world, as well as we have said this morning, well, all the stories mostly pertains to what is happening in Gaza. And as I did say, the good book says something. It said, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. So innocent lives are going to be lost, have been lost, and we have to pray that the cool heads prevail. But there have been some reactions from various quarters in those countries that are said to be standing with Israel and what they have said. I'll try to bring you more on that front as well. Now, Polish right-wing party to lose majority, exit polls seem to be saying. Now, the right-wing Populist Law and Justice Party is on course to win most seats in Poland's general election. An exit poll suggests, but it's unlikely to secure a third term in office. Known as the PIS, it is set to win 36.6% of the vote, and the centrist opposition on 31%, says the Ipsos poll. If that is correct, Donald Tusk's Civic Coalition has a better chance of forming a coalition. He is aiming to end 8 years of PIS rule under leader Jaroslaw Kaczynski. So lots more going to be coming your way from there as I bring you all the details of those stories making the round. Daniel Nabua elected Ecuador's youngest president. Well, you know, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. That shows you how crazy that place is, right? All right, then. I'll be telling you more about that. Mr. Nabua will govern until May 2025 after beating Luisa Gonzalez in the second round of the voting. Set for 167 people after DR Congo boat capsized is also going on. Some of the stories that have been captured there. An ex-Bank of China boss arrested on bribery charges. Iranian director Darish Mojai and wife have been found dead. What brought about their death? We'll be looking into that. Inside the exhausted Gaza city, with a million mouths to feed, a desperate and destitute tide of humanity has washed into Khan Yunis, and there is no help. And some information that has come through this morning that has also is allegedly not been confirmed by the authorities. There says Israel says no truce in South Gaza as thousands wait at border crossing. The Rafah border crossing remains closed despite U.S. media reports it could reopen for aid to reach Gaza and foreign nationals to live. How true is all that? That we don't actually know. I'll be telling you more about that. Now, when it comes to the UK front as well, huge numbers of A&E waits not counted for a decade. A mom's drink driver plea after son's crash death. The feed Hughes was killed by an unlicensed driver filmed drinking a can of cider behind the wheel. And USAF signals a change in independent strategy. Now, FM suggests a majority of seats in a general election will provide a mandate for independent negotiations. But will they allow him to negotiate? Will Sunak say, yeah, bring it on? Well. Or what do you call him, the Labour leader, Is he going to be saying that if he wins that election? Now, Sunak is to address commons amid Israel-Gaza crisis. Now, the Prime Minister will appear before MPs as concerns grow about the situation in the Middle East. Where is his stand? What do you think about everything that is happening? Let's take a break, some musical break, and once we come back, we should have Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining in because it's not said otherwise after sending us all those information. But wherever you are, stay tuned. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And it says what? It says names of talkatives. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
Like my favorite song on this album, y'all. It's no secret in our world. People like to talk the things they know and the ones they don't. They will spread lies and rumors just to be known. So why are you wasting your time like this? Hearing those things that break your heart. Give no attention, give no thoughts. Cause people talk, but they'll never help you walk. So whenever they speak, look up and you will see a broken pencil and a sheet. And tell them, say, I'm writing names of talkatives. Yeah.
All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
all of
9.
this noise you're making on me.
Teacher, let them when he comes.
Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
There are many voices in this life, and to be honest, many are not nice.
This is Starr Radio
Don't
UK.
hear something and pick a knife.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Nothing but lies. Teacher said, be careful how you hear, cause there are talkatives here, they are everywhere. So silence the voices in your head and give no attention to your fears. I'm writing
names of talkatives. All of this noise is
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Teacher will get you when he comes.
As for me,
I have a race.
no time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of
I'm
talkatives.
writing names of
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
Teacher will
20.
get you when he comes. I have a race. No time to waste.
Can we talk? Yeah. Can we talk? Call him, said,
Talkatives.
do you know any?
Talkatives.
Yeah. Have you met any?
Talkatives.
Can we write some?
Talkatives.
List some names of
Talkatives. Talkative.
I am going now.
Talkative.
Yeah. Some friends are.
Talkative.
Some family members.
Talkative.
Some landlords are.
Talkative.
I said your exes are.
Talkative.
Your exes are.
Talkative.
Have you known any?
Talkative.
Move away far from.
Talkative.
Opinions are.
Talkative.
Bloggers.
Talkative.
Social media.
Talkative.
Old friends.
Talkative.
Some doctors report are.
Talkative.
Some symptoms are.
Talkative.
Addictions are.
Talkative.
Move away far from.
Talkative.
People's opinions are.
Talkative.
You are too fast.
Talkative.
You are too slow.
Talkative.
You talk too much.
Talkative.
You are very quiet.
Talkative.
Open makeup, dodo.
Talkative.
Your face is so raw.
Talkative.
You sing too much.
Talkative.
You don't sing at all.
Talkative.
The last time I heard they said, are you the one they said you did? Are you sure you know?
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Well, so if that is going on in your lives where you have people saying all sorts, and always determining what you have to do or what you have to eat, what you have to breathe, whatever is going on,
Run away from.
then you have to run away from them.
Some distance.
I say it all the time that you have to criticize people, but it should be constructive criticism. But when you know that you are doing your best and all that is coming is just destructive, boy oh boy, you need to sit up and reassess those friends, right? So right names of targetives by Kofi Boham. I hope that I've been able to incite you or invigorate you or encourage you this morning.
They will make you dance yourself.
This all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Will stop you from seeing.
So waiting for Miss Olayomi Koiki to join in.
What is doing. So move away from. These people.
Those of you who have been very nice or follow the Koiki media, so over the weekend would have seen where he was and what he was doing as well. And the conversation or the statement that was made by Chief Sunday Igboho. But wherever you are, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
Time no day. Time no day.
So write these names of talkatives.
These names of talkatives.
Writing names of talkatives.
Thinking on you.
Teacher, level when he comes.
Teacher, we get them when he comes. You have a race. No time to waste.
It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
You dance too much. You don't know how to dance at all, Steven. Why are you like this? Rasta ni pony be awaye. Makeup, I hold you.
Okay, Starr Radio UK. Let's move on to what is happening in Nigeria whilst we wait for Yomi to be able to join us. I hope that he is able to do so if everything is working along nicely there. Okay, but now let me just bring you that whilst we wait for. But if you're listening to me as well, maybe you have some stories that is making the rounds there or down there that you want us to share or you want to share with us. Feel free to do so. I promise you one thing for sure, I will acknowledge you. All right then. So updates from Nigeria. So what is happening? There is a banter because some have also come out to say that, well, Atiko, your name wasn't Atiko from the beginning, so you also changed your name. But Atiko has come out to debunk that fact to say that my change of name from Siddiq to Atiko Abubakar is well documented. Atiko opens up. Now, the Atiko Media Office has said contrary to an attempt by the presidency and the ruling Progressive Congress, All Progressive Congress, to drag former Vice President Atiku Abubakar into forgery allegations, his change of his name from Sadiq to Atiku Abubakar is well documented. The assertion is contained in a statement released on Sunday in Abuja by the media advisor to Atiku Abubakar, Paul Ibe. The statement reads, now it is on record that the change of name of the former vice president reverting to Atiku Abubakar from Sadiq Abubakar is well documented in an affidavit dated the 18th of August 1973, spanning over a period of 50 years, is in the public domain. The discovery of Tinubu's records of the Chicago State University and the court-ordered deposition in the United States is only the tip of the iceberg that has been litany of his forgeries and lies. The attempt to drag Atiku Abubakar into the arena of forgery must be seen for what is an attempt to minimize the allegations of forgeries. Now, according to Paul Ibe, it has been established that Tinubu only attended CSU, that is a Chicago State University, and that he secured admission into the university by impersonation. In 1999, Tinubu lied under oath in his form CF001, which he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), that he attended St. Paul's Primary School, Aroloya, Lagos, Government College, Ibadan, Chicago University, and Chicago State University. Now, through the discoveries of his records in the Chicago State University, we now know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu forged a secondary school certificate of Government College, Lagos, on HCS certificate from Cambridge University, an HCS certificate from Cambridge University, and a transcript from Richard Daly College, which belongs to a female owner. Now, we also know, thanks to the discoveries, that the Chicago State University, a few days to graduation in 1979, notified him of outstanding or carry over, as it's known in Nigeria, pre-qualifying examination in English, mathematics, and comprehension, which never appeared on his transcript to have been retaken. After his odyssey in falsifying educational qualification, Bola Ahmed Tinubu claimed in 1999 affidavit to contest for the position of governor of Lagos State that he had working experience with Arthur Andersen Accounting, Deloitte, and Mobile Nigeria. It ends up that both claims on Arthur Andersen and Deloitte in the USA are false because his footprints are nowhere to be found in those corporations. Boy, oh boy. Like CSU, Deloitte denied ever knowing or having any Bola Ahmed Tinubu in their employment. He has since stopped adding that to his official or public records since his exposure. Curiously, handlers of this same Bola Ahmed Tinubu has smuggled Adekunle middle name that magically popped up in his so-called National Youth Service Corps certificate into his Wikipedia on the 6th of October 2023. This may yet be another indication of master forger at work. Boy, oh boy. Now, yet, this same Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his handlers want to confuse the public by making insinuations about what Atiku Abubakar is not. Now, while asking Tinubu and his handlers to desist from making any further attempt at comparing both the president and Atiku Abubakar, the statement said, for the purpose of clarification, all the names that Atiku Abubakar bears are names that are traceable to his family tree. He adopted Atiku Abubakar as his official name while in the employ of the Nigeria Customs Service. Atiku life is an open book and not the mystery or closed book that continues to define the life of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Conversely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a name that has no history nor social acquaintance until the late 1970s. So maybe he also changed his name or decided to adopt a new name. What about that? Well. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, on Monday issued a 7-day vacation order for motorists and commercial bus drivers to stop operating on top of bridges across the state. Now, LASMA spokesperson Adebayo Tofik in a statement said the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Transportation, Sola Jiwa, issued the order based on the need to remove every infraction impeding the free flow of traffic on bridges across the state. Najiwa said, despite several warnings, motorists and commercial bus drivers have continued to defy government's order and cause serious obstruction around these bridges with negative impacts on the integrity of the bridges and traffic. He said that the present administration is expending huge resources on constructing standard bus terminals and garages for commercial activities. Now, every commercial bus driver operating along Pongbon and Idumota Keita bridges, Elegbata, Ebute, Ero, and Jalonibu must, as a matter of urgency, vacate these areas as LASMA will commence strict enforcement operation immediately after the expiration of this ultimatum until zero tolerance is achieved across the state. The special advisor added that the activities of those motorists and commercial bus drivers on the bridges are contrary to provision of the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform Law 2018 as amended. He said that after the expiration of the ultimatum, any vehicles contravened will be immediately charged to the Lagos State Mobile Court for prosecution. But what do you think is going to happen there? It's all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, when it comes to one other story that's making the rounds, a big one there, pertaining to Nnamdi Kanu. Ohainze, or the IPOB lawyer, is telling Ohainze that Nnamdi Kanu, is a victim, not a villain. Now, Aloy Jimako, the special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has reacted to the imminent meeting between Ohainze Ndigbo and Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the agitators' continued incarceration. Ejumako said Ohainze should be guided by the fact that Kanu would have been released if the Nigerian government complied with the court orders. Posting on X, the lawyer said Ohainze should be informed that Biafra agitator is a victim, not a villain. Now, Ohainze's president Emmanuel Iwanyanu had disclosed plans to meet with Tinubu over the need to release Kanu. He disclosed this on Saturday during a courtesy visit to the leadership of the Supreme Council of Nigerian Traditional Rulers Southeast Chapter, led by President His Royal Majesty Ize Ehenyi-Chukwu in Wakena of Abia State at his glass house Oji Oweri office complex. He said the planned visit to the president is centered on all issues bordering the people of the Southeast geopolitical zone. Now, Iwanyanu stated that the move to push for the release of the secessionists from custody of the Department of State the DSS became necessary following the worsening security situation in the region. According to him, some persons use Kanu's name and his incarceration to perpetrate crimes in the region, saying they are only after their selfish interests. Now, reacting, Ejimako posted in meeting with Tinubu, Ohainze should be strictly guided by the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not be in detention if Nigeria abided by the law in not subjecting him to extraordinary rendition or complied with the court orders to release him. He is a victim, not the villain that some people say or continue to say he is, or if they go, their intention is to go and mete out such statement to or with the president. Listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The Bayelsa Guba poll, we will win despite Silva's disqualification. That's what the APC is saying. The All Progressive Congress National Campaign Council for the November 11 governorship poll in Bayelsa State has said that the party will triumph the election in spite of the disqualification of candidate Chief Timpre Silva. The chairman of the council, Gombe State Governor Inuwu Yahya, has stated this when he spoke with newsmen in Yenagoa. Now, Yahya, who led members of the National Working Committee, NWC, of the APC to Bayelsa, said the visit was to strengthen the synergy between the national leadership and the state chapter in order to ensure the party's victory in the election. He said that the party's candidate possessed the requisite experience and skills to govern the state, in addition to being widely accepted by the people. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, to some serious issues going on. Niger Delta ex-warlords, including His Royal Majesty Dr. Atike Michael Tom, the Amania Nabo of the Okichiri Kingdom, and the Sekuru of Niger Delta, Asari Dokubo, Ajube Bibopori, General Shoot Aside, wonderful names there, and Victor Ben Ibika Bowe, General Boylof, have met on how to resolve their issues of oil theft. This is coming as the Ijaw Youth Network commended President Bola Tinubu for renewing the pipeline's protection contract awarded to Tantita Security Services Limited for another 3 years. Oil Asset Surveillance Contractors Forum yesterday said it discovered a major tapping on the Trans-Niger pipeline (TNP) used by oil thieves in siphoning crude from the facility in Boni local government area, River State. Now, the foremost former militant leaders and key stakeholders from the 6 states of the Niger Delta region met on Saturday at the palace of King Ateke, Okichiri Kingdom, Okirika local government area of River State. A source privy to the development said the meeting was convened to discuss ways and strategies needed for overseeing the pipeline surveillance contract with Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited. The source, which did not want his name mentioned, said those in attendance also shared the objectives of intensifying their efforts to combating illegal refining, which is affecting the environment. The source noted that former warlords expressed commitment to boost collaborative endeavors aimed at safeguarding the pipelines and other critical infrastructure in the area. The source further said the meeting is a collaborative approach with the ability to ensuring a turnaround in the ongoing struggle against oil theft, with far-reaching benefits for the entire region and Nigeria's economy. So, if the same contractors have not been able to police what is happening, or in the past, and now being given another terms of contract or extension of contract for another 3 years, what new strategy are they bringing to the table? Was their performance good enough, or was their performance beneath the belt or low? So what informed them? Maybe again, I don't blame them, but maybe the committee saw that other entities who were bringing such, were tendering for that contract also might not have given anything that is better off than what the current ones are doing, and therefore automatically that current contract should go to them. But another question that comes into it is that I hope, as I'm saying, there were no underhand dealings there as well. But listeners, so coming away from Starr Radio UK, updates from Nigeria, from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and let me bring you some more that has come out from there. Akpabio calls for urgent fix of Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road. That's one of the stories making the round this morning there as well. And then the other one that I'll try to tack on, PDP renew call for the Imo Rec Professor Agu's removal. And then Nigeria become carcass. Mogalu kicks as federal government seeks loan from the World Bank. In some of the other stories as well. One final one that I'll be looking at is Lagos shutting down a hospital for transfusing on-screen blood. Okay, so let's move on straight to Akpabio's statement this morning. The Senate President Godswill Akpabio has called for an urgent repair of the Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road to relieve its users of further harrowing experience. He made his call during the grand finale of the Yewa Cultural Festival, Ogun State, where he was installed Arari Fiwagboye of the Yewa land. The Senate President Vivid described the dismissal condition of federal roads on his recent trip from Lagos to Ilaro in Ogun State over the weekend, stating that he spent hours navigating traffic on his way there. Moreover, he promised that the federal government will collaborate with Dapo Abiodun, Ogun State Governor, in ensuring that both federal and state roads along the route become motorable again. In his appeal to the Senate, Governor Abiodun urged the federal government to hand over the reconstruction of the Lagos Ota Abeokuta Road to the state, underscoring its vital role in the state's socio-economic growth. The governor mentioned that his journey from Abeokuta to Ilaro took 3 hours, noting that the effort made by the state to ensure the transfer of the road did not yield any positive result. Meanwhile, Abiodun mentioned that discussions regarding the reconstruction of the Abeokuta Olorunda Emeko and Abeokuta Iboro Ilaro roads are nearing completion in his administration. Well, so what do you think? Well, maybe he being the Senate President and making that statement, that will help the right thing to be done when it comes to the roads in Nigeria. 11:30 the time, Starr Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program. I am Archie, bringing you updates from Nigeria. As I say, these are some of the stories that Yomi has sent to me to bring your way, and God willing, if it's okay and everything ticks along nicely, he should be with us tomorrow. Now, Kingsley Magalo, a former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, has kicked against the federal government's plan to borrow $1.5 billion from the World Bank. The Minister of Finance and coordinating ministers of the economy, Mr. Wale Edun, while speaking with journalists at the 2023 annual meeting of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in Marrakech, Morocco, confirmed the loan. Edun, who promised that there will be a coordination of monetary and fiscal policies, pledged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration will not breach ways and means limits. On the talks with the World Bank on $1.5 billion budget support, that is correct. The World Bank is the number one multilateral development bank, helping developing countries or funding developing countries projects and programs and sectors. It has free money through either International Development Association, it is for the poorer countries, and right now I think we qualify as one of the countries that can borrow in the normal window of the World Bank funding, but also some concessionary IDA funding, and that means that effectively the interest rate will be zero, Edun stated. Reacting, Moghalu on his ex-official page said, Nigeria is becoming a carcass and our political class, it's scavengers. There is a real problem when Nigeria is set to borrow another 1.5 billion from the World Bank for budget support, and SUVs worth 160 million naira each are reportedly to be bought for 360 members of the House of Representatives. We are not yet serious as a country. Nigeria is becoming a carcass and our political class is scavengers, he wrote. So what do we do when it comes to our House of Representatives? In Ghana we have the parliamentarians. What do we do? Do we give them new cars when they come in? Where do we get those monies from? We say we don't have money, but the way we live, the lavish life that we live, says otherwise. But well, Moghalu has kicked against that move by the government to go get another 1.5 billion dollars loan from the bank, the World Bank. How is it going to pan out from Nigerians? How are the common Nigerians going to be enjoying that as well, or benefiting from that as well? But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Updates from Nigeria. The Lagos State government has sealed off a private hospital at Ago Okota in Oshodi, Izolo. Now, local government for collecting and transfusing unscreened, unlabeled blood to unsuspecting patients. The Executive Secretary, Lagos State Blood Transfusion Services, Dr. Bodunirin Oshikomaya said this yesterday in a statement signed by Tamboshon Ogumbawo, Director Public Affairs, Ministry of Health in Lagos. Now, Oshikomaya said the LSBTS, in collaboration with the State Health Facilities Monitoring and Accreditation Agency, sealed off the facility following a tip-off from concerned citizens. Following the tip-off and other thorough investigation, the enforcement teams of LSBTS and HEFARMA, during their joint monitoring exercise in the area, visited the facility and confirmed to be true the unwholesome, unprofessional, and unethical medical practices and conduct of the hospital management, Oshikomaya said. She added that the facility was shut for contravening the blood transfusion service law and unethical and unprofessional medical practice, as well as putting lives of unsuspecting citizens at risk. So it is a difficult thing, because here, I mean, before you have to you transfuse blood, I mean, first of all, the blood has to be screened to find out if it's got anything. So I'm now even worried about it, whether even they got the blood group right. If it's not well labeled, so maybe you give A to somebody who has B. Of course, the universal donors are there. When they get it, they are there. So but even that, you have to screen the blood for any ailment, HIV or hepatitis or whatever other blood ailments or stuff that they normally screen, what professionals do. But I don't get it why that should go on. And they are health experts there as well. What happened? Where did they get the blood from? Is there a blood bank that is supposed to see to it that, well, they screen those bloods, or where did they get it from? That's the question. Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So one final story, or a couple of them, and then we bring the updates from Nigeria to a close. And this one coming your way. The NDLEA, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, has arrested 2 heads of transitional criminal organization with multi-billion-dollar illicit drugs and assets. The Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, who disclosed this on Sunday, October 15, said the arrest came after weeks of intelligence-led operation across the country and outside Nigeria. The arrest of the wanted drug lords came on the heels of interception of consignment of cocaine and heroin buried in the bellies of 2 traffickers heading to Paris, France, and Doha, Qatar. NDLEA officers at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, said. On Tuesday, NDLEA operatives at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, took into custody one Hakim Babatunde Salami, who was said to be the arrowhead of Tajuddin Babatunde Abioye Transitional Criminal Organization. The agency said the criminal organization had been involved in illicit trade of several narcotics, including cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, ephedrine, in Nigeria, Brazil, Ghana, South Africa, Mozambique, and Europe. Now, Salami had left Nigeria for South Africa after the arrest of a member of his syndicate, Suleiman Babatunde Oba, on August 25, while attempting to export 25.10 kgs of ephedrine to South Africa. However, Salami was later arrested with the partnership of South Africa's authority and other investigative intelligence, said his vehicles and houses in Lagos were seized while his cartel members were arrested as well. Similarly, the head of another cartel, Okafor Ikechukwu Williams, aka Jantu, and his wife, Okafor Efenyiwa Grace, were also taken into custody on Thursday, October 5, during a raid by the agency in Okota, Lagos State. Operatives of the NDLEA recovered 27.5 kgs of methamphetamine concealed in a blue box and 2 sacks ready for export to Europe and Asia, and a Lexus RX 350 Mark ABJ 512AY packed in the house. Also in the Abuja airport, NDLEA operatives arrested 2 drug traffickers, Nwafo Ejogo Charles and Nwafo Charles Oku Dili, after a body scan revealed he ingested cocaine. Now, Charles was placed under observation, during which he excreted 75 pellets of cocaine weighing 1.653 kgs, while Okudili was taken into recovery room where he excreted another 96 wipes of heroin he ingested with a total weight of 1.413 kgs. Boy, oh boy. Meanwhile, the NDLEA operatives on patrol along the Okene Lokoja Abuja Expressway on Tuesday, 10th of October, intercepted a commercial bus from Lagos to Kano transporting $4.8 million and 57 million safer suspected to be counterfeited. Boy. But this all coming away from Starr Radio UK, the final story, and they will bring the updates to a close. The Nigerian Air Force, airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force fighters jets have killed several Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists in Borno State. The airstrikes also destroyed 6 terrorist gun trucks and 40 motorcycles at their hideout in the Buka Meram along the fringes of Lake Chad. NAP spokesperson Air Commodore Edward Gabwet said this in a statement yesterday. He said a stream of airstrike by NAF components of military operation across the country have continued to record successes. Well done to them. We hope that they are able to deal with this menace. But listeners, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. We're going to take a break, and then I bring you some music, and then we continue to look at some of the other stories in other parts of the world as well. But let me say thank you very, very much for joining us. Those of you on all the various
broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7,
the various platforms, we say thank you for joining us. So let's take this commercial break. I'll be with you.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
Well, thank you very much for joining in Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I bring you the time now to 10:44, but enjoy this music and I'll be with you. Morning to Olayomi Kilanko Gabi. Hey, how are you doing? It's a good morning, Starr Radio UK, and all the fans. Good morning to you as well. We thank God Nigeria has not happened to you, and you're doing very, very well. I hope you had a nice weekend. Did it you?
Where is the dollar? 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 Give gorilla bananas to give to monkey. Hey, hey, hey. Give gorilla bananas to give to monkey. Yes, as you know, you know go see banana, banana, you know go see banana. the dollar? Where is the dollar? Where is the dollar? Where is the dollar? Give gorilla bananas to give to monkey. Hey, hey, hey. Give gorilla bananas to give to monkey. You guys, you know, him no go see banana, banana, him no go see banana. Monkey no go see banana, banana, him no go see banana. Where is the dollar? 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 Him no go see banana, banana, him no go see banana. Monkey no go see banana.
Okay, welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I did say, yes, it's now 11 minutes to the top of the hour, and we are bringing you everything that you got to know when it comes to all the stories that is making around across the globe. Yes, so now we go straight to other parts of Africa, but yeah.
Beat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Thank you very much for joining in Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I remain Archie, as was said. Yes. And so, what are some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of Africa as well? Good news for South Africa. Well, in the Rugby World Cup, well, South Africa has managed to show France the dogs. Okay. Well, South Africans have been celebrating like no man's business there. So, let's see how it all pans out. Now, the question that is being asking, are Sahelian states re-strategizing counter-terrorism without France? Is a story that is making the rounds there as well. But if you look at issues that have gone on after these coup d'etats and those in the Sahel, I mean, actually ousting or forcing France to leave. On a special interview with Nagali Bogayoko, breaking down the stakes of an Africanization of counterterrorism efforts, the military rulers in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger recently signed a mutual defense pact. They belong to the G5 Sahel initiative spearheaded by France. The Sahel region accounted for more deaths from terrorism in 2022 than South Asia and the Middle East and North African regions combined. The latest Global Terrorism Index reported that the region is experiencing a security, humanitarian, and political crisis. Nagali Bagayoko, the president of the African Security Sector Network, said. He says that the five Sahel had a bigger ambition and was not only dedicated to security issues but sought to deliver on a development-based agenda as well. From an operational point of view, when these joint forces was set up, it ran into several difficulties, not only in the field but also from a decision-making point of view. Now, these difficulties led to Mali's exit from the organization. This handicapped the alliance, and a fact led to a certain lethargy. Now, today, the Central States of Sahel has set up alternative intervention framework. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso have signed a new charter, the Alliance of Sahel States, that clearly appears as an alternative project to the G5 Sahel. Now, if I may, or as the speaker is saying, it is important to mention that the states are considered an alliance in such a framework of this region of Letako Goma that would have been affiliated with eponymous authority. It talks about the fact that the difficulty is that for 11 years now, since 2012, all the efforts made both by the Sahelian states and their international partners have not translated into improved security, particularly for civilians population when they consider the 2023 figures. If we look at the figures compiled by NGO ACLED, they show a continuous deterioration of the situation. The alliance, therefore, risks facing the same difficulties or previous frameworks operating in the Sahelian region suffered when put to the test by a multi-dimensional insecurity. So what do you think is the way forward for them? Do you think they collaborating will be a stronger move to be able to quell the insurgency that is going on there? Or the fact that they've ousted or they've shown France the door means that, well, they will be overwhelmed by these terrorist groups. But the question again is, they're breaking away from France. Does that mean that now they are, because we saw that most of them were trying to align with Russia, the Wagner, Russia mercenaries, the Wagner. And that was one of the troubles there, that people were thinking, no, we don't have to allow the Wagner to come in. They were thinking, but if Russia troops down there will be able to stop the tide of the insurgency, what's wrong with it? That's the question on the lips of most people. But what do you think about all that? Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then, so let's move on to some other stories making the rounds there as well. Well, we did talk about this story pertaining to South African forces who were on the ground in DRC, who are allegedly have been compromised sexually, let me put it that way. The story says that, well, on Sunday, South Africa Army announced the recall of nearly a dozen peacekeepers suspected of operating a system of mass prostitution in front of their base in the Democratic Republic of Congo. On Wednesday, the UN mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, MONUSCO, said it had arrested 8 South African peacekeepers deployed in the eastern town of Benin on charges of systematic and widespread violation of UN rules against sexual exploitation and abuse, and suspended 1 officer. In view of the seriousness of the accusation, the South African Army has announced that it had decided to recall the soldiers to South Africa to respond, adding that investigators had been sent to the DRC to look into the matter. According to internal MONUSCO documents consulted by the AFP, the peacekeepers arrested are accused of being involved in a system of brothels and makeshift bars, and appeared in front of the MONUSCO base at Mavivi near Benin, and were used for prostitution. Boy, oh boy, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Still on the African continent, bringing you everything that you need to know there. Now, if you're a tourist and you want to travel to Morocco, well, information that is coming through is that tourists have returned amid restoration process. Well, Marrakesh, a city known for its iconic historical sites, suffered badly when a powerful earthquake rocked its foundation in early September. The 6.8 magnitude quake not only claimed nearly 3,000 lives in Morocco, but also left a significant scar on the iconic landmarks. The damage to the historical monuments varies according to each region and its distance from the epicenter of the earthquake. The most damage is the Tinmel Mosque, which was close to the epicenter of the earthquake in Igil, as well as some mosques in Marrakesh, such as Karbouch Mosque. The other monuments sustained minor damages, explained Rashid Chamin, historian in Marrakesh. The country's Ministry of Culture has taken on the challenge of restoring these architectural gems, employing skilled artisans to reconstruct the time-honored beauty. Now, it must be dealt with great caution so that all stakeholders and experts who work side by side in an initial stage through field inspection can inspect the losses that have been caused in those monuments, and the second stage is re-maintenance, which required great experience, not only maintaining the building but preserving the historical culture and engineering spirit of those buildings, informed Khadija Marquis, architect. Nevertheless, the restoration process has started slowly, bringing back the tourists and the unique colors of the city. Now we come to see the city despite the earthquake. We wanted to enjoy the experience, understand the culture, see the sites affected by the earthquake, to understand a little bit more how people live here and how they survive to enjoy the experience, shared Polatat, a tourist from Ecuador. Well, when you see such occurrences, it's scary. Now, some are bold enough to go to such places to continue to tour those places. But when it's like that, I feel, boy, oh boy, I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to be there. But well, so coming your way from the African continent. Well, Burkina Faso transitional government has paid tribute to on Sunday to the late revolutionary president Thomas Sankara, assassinated in a coup 36 years ago. Boy, I remember that. Now, attendees included relatives of the late leader, the president of the transition, and the government officials were in Ouagadougou. The ceremony took place after Lieutenant Sankara was elevated to the rank of to the rank of hero to the nation in early October. I think I did talk about that sometime last week. Now, Article 1, the late Captain Thomas Isidori Noel Sankara is recognized as a hero of the nation. The day of homage to late Captains Isidori Thomas Noel Sankara is to be celebrated every 15th of October in Ouagadougou. Bosoma Bezi, Minister of the Civil Service of Burkina Faso, has said. President of the transition, Captain Tori laid the foundation stone for the Thomas Sankara Mausoleum. The mausoleum will be built on the very site of the assassination of Thomas Sankara and the 12 of his companions. Boulevard Charles de Gaulle, adjoining the memorial, was renamed after a Pan-Africanist icon and former president. Today, the boulevard has been named Boulevard Thomas Sankara instead of Boulevard Charles de Gaulle. So today, we're very proud, because if the boulevard had been named after the imperialists, today we think that we also have heroes. We also have valiant Burkinabe, after whom we can name this boulevard or streets. Well, Thomas Sankara, who came to power in a coup in 1983, was killed along with 12 of his companions by a commando of his postiche. Former President Blaise Compaoré, who was Sankara's right-hand man, was sentenced to life in prison over Sankara's murder in 2022. But he is out of the country in La Côte d'Ivoire, so I don't think he'll be facing any judgments there. But listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One final story, and then we'll move on from that part of Africa. We'll go to Ghana as well. Now, Kenyan President William Ruto has arrived in Beijing to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, scheduled for 2 days in the Chinese capital. This forum holds great diplomatic significance for China as its most important event of this year, and a notable celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. Over 140 countries set and 30 international organizations, including leaders, officials, and representatives from various sectors, have confirmed their participation. The Belt and Road Initiative, initiated by China in 2013, aims to create trade and infrastructure networks connecting Asia, Europe, Africa, and beyond along the historic Silk Road trade routes. In the past decade, over 150 countries and 30 international organizations have engaged with the BRI framework, marking a significant milestone in global cooperation. William Ruto intends to ask China for $1 billion loan and a debt repayment restructuring plan, the country's vice president said on Friday. According to Rigathi Gachagua, the head of state, who criticized his predecessor heavy borrowing from Beijing, will visit China at unspecified date. We will ask for more time to slowly repay the debt, as well as $1 billion to complete road projects delayed by the lack of funds. Well, Kenya, one of East Africa's largest economies, has accumulated more than $68 billion in debt, equivalent to 67% of its gross domestic product. We are responsible government. We can't say we won't pay the debt. Regarding Gachago told a radio station. China, which William Ruto has not visited since his election in August 2022, is the country's second largest creditor after the World Bank. So, what are the Chinese going to do about that? I bet they want more friends, and then they can take over your whatever it is. Well. But the final story, my apologies, the final story there before I open the lines. The Senegal water sachet have become an integral part of life. They are also a contributor to plastic waste marring the West African nation's streets and coastlines. I have 2,000 liter tanks, which means that the 2 tanks hold 2,000 liters. After that, there is a pump. The pump that draws the water to the machine through these filters. You see, there are 3 filters and a carbon filter. The filter filters the water and the carbon improves the taste. Explained Amadou Diallo, water sachet manufacturer. But what are they doing with a sachet after it's been used? Do we have a place where we put it? A place where it can be contained so that it's not flying out or flying over all the place and virtually degrading the environment? Well, it is all coming away from Starr Radio, okay? Well, Senegal is drowning. But what can they do? Are people going to have their own bottles and they'll be walking about with it like we do here, where we have all that bottles that normally, and then of course even here we still have plastic problem, but we don't have it as bad as these other countries do have. Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK, 5 minutes past the top of the hour, the time, the morning show, the program. I am Archie, and the lines are open. You want to call in, call us on 0208-133-2257, or you can text or WhatsApp us 0753-9661744, 0753-96617. For our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. Let's take a break. We come back and we'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds this time round in Ghana as well, before we go to other parts of the world.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
You are listening to Star Radio Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Those of you on all the other platforms watching or listening in, I salute each and every one of you. I cherish your company dearly. Okay, now let's move on straight to Ghana as well, because we're already pressed with time. Now, Senator Archie Rollins has questioned the state of Ghana's democracy and governance. The Member of Parliament for Crawley constituency in the Greater Accra region, Dr. Senator Archie Rollins, has taken to social media to express a deep concern about the state of democracy and governance in Ghana. Now, in a thought-provoking post on LinkedIn, she raised questions about the fairness, transparency, and integrity of political process, and whether these principles will guide the upcoming 2024 general elections. Now, Dr. Archie Rollins expressed her struggle with the prevailing political climate and expected of waiting till 2024 to potentially see a change of government. Now, she pondered whether the democratic process will be upheld during the election or if it will be marred by attempt to undermine democracy and the rule of law. The parliamentarian and daughter of late Ghana President Jerry John Rawlings also highlighted the long-standing issue of a winner-takes-all approach to Ghana's interpretation of democracy and criticized the focus on elections while failing to address bad governance and corruption between electoral cycles, allowing a few individuals to lead the nation into turmoil. And that's the question that I ask all the time. That look, we say they have gone to the polls, as the Zongo man would say, use the ballot box. So we use the ballot box. We elected some people, whether there were some machinations that took place for those people to have their positions. Well, we can talk about that later on. But when this happens, then we have the issue where we see governance which is not good enough, corruption or alleged corruption, and we see the people or the populace suffering. Yet they'll tell you that, well, all you have to do is to wait till the next election time. But you can see that the people driving the vehicle, or the driver and his conductor, or if it's a train or it's an airplane, let me put it that way, because that will sign a very the captain and his co-pilots and the engineer who are supposed to see to the smooth flying of the plane are virtually going to crash the plane. Do we say let's sit down, let's wait, and when we get to our destination then we will do whatever we have to do? Or do we take over control? If there are experts there who know what to do, because even because I like watching this program, Air Crash Investigation. I like watching it a lot. Some people ask me, so you watch that when you're flying, how do you feel? I said, I feel okay. It gives me more insight into what goes on there, you know. Maybe I should have been a pilot, which I failed to do. But you know, interestingly, so when there are issues going on, at times you see the team coming into where the passengers are, okay, and then asking, maybe there's somebody who has got an expertise, or if something is going on, somebody raises their hand. Are you having any problems? Oh, I am an engineer. I am a pilot as well. And they all go put their heads together so that the plane doesn't crash and everybody in there dies. But it looks like when it comes to our politics, we have people who have got parachutes. Okay? Or they've got those seats in jets where you can eject the seat and then you can leave the plane to crash. And that seems to be exactly what is happening. And so when we see what has happened in Gabon, when we see what is happening in Burkina Faso, when we see what is happening in Niger and some of the other countries, then we say, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be that way. We have to wait. But I tell you all the time, the last time we had the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, making a statement saying that, you know what, we have to look at homegrown policies to help us solve our problems. So the governance system that we are using is a one that meets our needs, or is it because it's a democracy and what is working for other people should work for us? We have different people, level of education different, our setup different, and everything different. Our skill start different. So why don't we look at what will help us to do what we have to do rather than copy what some others are doing and saying that, well, it will fit us. Maybe we are slim, then we're going to get some big coats. But now that's a trend, you know, the women are wearing big coats. And I'm like, what's going on? Or maybe we are fat and we're going to get a very slim suit where a jacket that when we wear, it cannot even fit our biceps. Talk less covering us. So what is the way forward when it comes to democracy? But she questioned the effectiveness of institutions meant to act as checks and balances over the executive, and whether they were merely instruments for change during elections or held the government accountable during its tenure. Dr. Jim Rollins expressed concerns about the exodus of Ghanaians seeking better opportunities abroad, which will pose a significant challenge for the government that wins the next election. She emphasized the need for mobilizing the nation's human resources to address the current challenges and restore Ghana's self-respect. For a long time, we have lamented about the zero-sum winner-takes-all approach to our interpretation of democracy, and yet we have failed to change the status quo. Our collective myopic focus on elections and inability to pull the brakes on the bad governance and corruption in between has allowed a few selfish individuals to take us into the abyss. So I ask myself, she continues, of what use are the institutions that are meant to act as checks and balances over the executive if all we can do is to sit and wait for a change in government in the hope that they will do better or be different? What kind of example are we setting for the younger generation, and what kind of hope are we offering the youth of today at a time when we need our human capacity more than ever? We are seeing an exodus of our people on unprecedented level, with one outcome: whoever wins the next election will have a Herculean task in mobilizing the human resources required to clean up the mess and restore this nation's self-respect. The parliamentarian reflected on the role of individuals with knowledge of the rule of law and democracy, and questioned whether they intended to use their expertise to dismantle what others had built, and call for a collective commitment to stop backsliding of the nation and to ensure that democracy and governance are not undermined. But the issue here, once again, is when people are in opposition, they cry foul and they say, you know what, the constitution has to be amended and blah blah blah, and there's too much powers for the president and the executive and blah blah blah, and they go on and on and on and on and on. And the moment they take the helm of or come to the helm of governance, or take the role of leading the country, now they relax, because it is their turn now to do whatever thing that they are doing. So I ask myself the question that, what do you think exactly is happening there? What is the way forward? It doesn't matter whether you are Ghanaian or you're Nigerian or you are Togolese or you are Burkina Bay or you are from where. What do we do in the interim? Because if we, then maybe we might have to limit the term of governance. So instead of having what do you call it, 4 years term, we have to now make it 2 years, so that the moment you start squandering state funds, the election will come quickly and then we oust you. But do you sit down, fold your arms, and we say, oh, you know, the military have been very, very good, you know, because they didn't interfere in the democracy or the rule of law. But I was talking this morning with my producer, and we were talking about the fact that they use that same rule of law, that law, they scheme that law and use that to marginalize the people and squander or siphon wealth from them. But what do? We are our own worst enemies, aren't we? But listeners, it's all coming away from Star Radio UK. 17 minutes past the top of the hour at a time. The morning show, the program. I am Archie. Now let's move on to other parts of the world as well, because there are lots of other stories that we have to look at before we bring the program to close at 12:30. Now, in other parts of the world, Israel says 199 hostages in Gaza as talks continue on aid to civilians. So there are 199 Israeli hostages in Gaza. Let me bring you that one, and then we move on, because it looks like this making lots of noise there. Israel's military has updated the number of people it believes are being held hostage in Gaza, up from 155 to 199. They were kidnapped when Hamas gunmen infiltrated Israel just over a week ago, killing more than 1,400 people. Now, more than 2,700 people in Gaza have been killed in retaliatory strikes by Israel, which is also blocking fuel, water, food, and medical supplies from entering the territory. The UN says it is deep in negotiations to get the first aid into Gaza. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas have denied earlier reports of a truce to allow some people out and aid in via the Rafah crossing. Now, thousands of people have been gathering close to the crossing with Egypt in the hope of leaving Gaza ahead of expected Israeli ground offensive. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had returned to Israel on Sunday. President Joe Biden called on Israel to exercise caution. Well, those are some of the stories making the rounds there. A sad one there, though. A man has been charged with murder and a hate crime after allegedly stabbing a 6-year-old boy to death because he was a Muslim. Joseph Zuba, 71, is accused of killing Wadia Al-Fayomi and seriously wounding his mother in Plainfield in Illinois. The landlord allegedly targeted the pair who were his tenants because of their religion and the ongoing conflict between Hamas and Israel. President Joe Biden said he was sickened by Saturday's attack. It is a sad one there. This horrific act of hate has no place in America and stands against our fundamental values: freedom from fear, for how we pray and what we live and who we are, he said. The 32-year-old woman was attacked by her landlord, who had a military-style knife with a 7-inch or 18 centimeters blade, and ran to the bathroom to call the police authorities. The police authorities said she suffered more than a dozen stab wounds, but is expected to survive. Her son, named as 6-year-old Wadia Al-Fayomi, was stabbed more than 24 times in the attack and later died in hospital. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and the whole world goes blind and toothless. What about that? Okay. Some election results coming through. A businessman, Daniel Noboa, 35, will become the youngest president in Ecuador's history after winning Sunday's runoff. Now, with more than 97% of the votes counted, Mr. Noboa, a centrist, had a lead of 4 percentage points over his left-wing rival, Luisa Gonzalez. Ms. Gonzalez conceded the election and congratulated Mr. Noboa on his win. In his victory speech, Mr. Noboa said he will give back a smile and peace to the country. The election campaign was overshadowed by unprecedented levels of violence, which saw one of its candidates, Fernando Villavicencio, assassinated just days before the first round of voting in August. The murder rate in Ecuador quadrupled between 2018 and 2022. An opinion poll suggested that security was voters' main concern going into the election. Flanked by heavily armed soldiers, Mr. Nabwa took to the stage and said that tomorrow we will start working for a new Ecuador to reconstruct a country battered by violence, by corruption and hate. Analysts point out that Mr. Nabwa, who has little political experience, will face an uphill struggle to tackle Ecuador's security problem and its poorly performing economy during its limited time in office. While presidential terms in Ecuador are normally 4 years long, this was an early election triggered by the dissolution of parliament by outgoing President Guillermo Lasso. Mr. Nabwa will serve out the term begun by Mr. Lasso, and which will end in May 2025. He can then stand for a second term. Supporters of the young businessman took to the street to celebrate his win. So let's see what Mr. Nabwa will be able to do. He's young, he's exuberant. Maybe he'll bring a fresh breath and strength into the affairs of the land. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We've got about 7 minutes to bring the program to a close. So wherever you are, please don't go away. Now in Poland, the right-wing Populist Law and Justice Party is on course to win most seats in Poland's general election, an exit poll suggests, but is unlikely to secure a third term in office. Now, known as the PIS, is set to win 36.6% of the vote, with a centrist opposition on 31%, says the Ipsos poll. If that is correct, Donald Tusk's Civil Coalition has a better chance of forming a coalition. He's aiming to end 8 years of PIS rule under leader Jarosław Kaczynski. Now, the PIS leader admitted he did not know if the party's success will be able to be turned into another term in power. Initial results give PIS the lead, but they reflect small towns and the countryside, which are party strongholds. A second Ipsos poll published on Monday morning reinforced its first poll on Sunday evening. Now, Poland Won Democracy has won. Mr. Tusk, 66, told a large crowd of jubilant supporters in what felt like a victory rally in Warsaw. This is the end of the bad times. This is the end of PIS government. They were roused as the Ipsos poll flashed up on the screen and Mr. Tusk appeared to loud cheers and chants on his name. So we'll see what happens during the course of the day, and tomorrow we'll tell you more about that. He is pro-EU, and what is going to happen there, I'm not sure about that. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We will be ending the program pretty soon. Now, Tory MP facing suspension after bullying probe. Parliament behavior watchdog says Williambra MP should be suspended for 6 weeks. This is an old man, you know them, boy oh boy. Let me bring you that quickly, and then I'll bring you the final story. Then we go. Parliament's behavior watchdog has recommended Tory MP Peter Bone be suspended for 6 weeks for bullying and sexual misconduct. It follows a complaint made to the body by a former member of staff over alleged behavior which took place over 10 years ago. The suspension will have to be voted on by the House of Parliament to be approved. It will trigger a recall petition that could potentially lead to a by-election if in Mr. Bone's Williambra seat. Mr. Bone appealed against the ruling by Parliament's Independent Complaints and Grievance Scheme, but it was dismissed by a sub-panel. In a statement after the watchdog released its ruling, Mr. Bone said the allegation was false and untrue. He added that the probe by Parliament's Independent Complaints and Grievance Scheme was flawed and procedurally unfair. The staffer made a complaint to the watchdog in October 2021 with a separate complaint to the Conservative Party made in 2017 unresolved. The ICGC found Mr. Bone had committed one act of sexual misconduct by indecently exposing himself during an overseas trip. Oh boy. Well. So come your way from Starr Radio UK. The final story, and we bring the program to a close there. The Prime Minister has said, "We will do everything in our power to keep the Jewish community safe," following a spate of anti-Semitic incidents in the UK. He said anti-Semitic actions will be met with the full force of the law. The Metropolitan Police said there had been a massive increase in anti-Semitic incidents following Hamas attacks on Israel 9 days ago. Now later, the Prime Minister will address MPs on the government response to the unfolding crisis in the Middle East. More than 1,400 people were killed, with up to 199 kidnapped in unprecedented incursions. Retaliatory strikes on Gaza have also killed 2,700 people, and Israel is preparing to launch a ground invasion in northern Gaza intended to target Hamas. But well, listeners, what can be done? What do you think? It's quite an interesting one, right? Well, we have to bring the program to a close now. So I will say it once again. Thank you very much. We're not going to Cyprus because Cypriot are on the move, so we cannot have them. But let me say thank you very, very, very much for joining me today on this wonderful show. God willing, tomorrow will be coming your way with another edition of the morning show. We should be having Baby Clement as well joining in the afternoon to bring you the career. My apologies. What did I say? BB means business. Well. So this is why I bring the program to a close. But this is from I was trying to get a song from Root Riders, a cover version of Bob Marley's Guiltiness. So what are politicians doing? What do you think about all that? Are they all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London? When the song ends and you don't hear from me, me Archie, say have a top of the day and bye-bye for now.
Guiltiness, talking about guiltiness. Let's down their conscience. Oh yeah.
This is Starr Radio UK.
And they live a life of false pretense every day, teaching every day. And these are the big fish. These are the big fish.